and welcome. How's it going, Ryan?
It is going so good. This is
Ladies
so
and
freaking fun
gentlemen,
already.
I am very excited. Yeah, like Ghosts and Ghostbusters alike, we have a very special stream for you today. He's a man of many voices. To name a few, let's see. I think Denji from Chainsaw Man is one of the biggest ones. Rhodey Soul from My Hero Academia, the World Heroes Mission movie.
Oh my gosh.
I kind of just looked at all
I
the
didn't
ones
know
that
we
I
were doing. I didn't
recognized.
know we were gonna do a whole round robin of
It's
voices.
a little bit of, Squallow from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Loki from Record of Ragnarok. That one my friend got me into. And for those of you who played our other game, Arcade-Ageddon, our British friend from the balcony, Skedaddle. And one of his most recent and upcoming roles, adding to the repertoire, the Ghost of Halloween, the Spectre that threatens eternal night, Samhain / Soin / however you
All the different, yeah. Name it
all
your
of the
own
pronunciations, yes. Ryan, how are you today, my friend? We've already been chatting for a while, getting everything set up, but
I am so good. I am so good. I'm so excited to be here and actually get to hang with the community and everything. And yeah, I mean, I feel like all of us have just had a crash course digital hangout, and you guys have just saved my butt with all this tech stuff. I am so excited for this. I feel amazing. I am, first off, I'm honored to be here. Really grateful to get to be a part of this game. I loved getting to be a part of Arcade-Ageddon. That was so special. So this one I really was not expecting, and yeah, we'll get into whatever we can. I don't want to spoil anything, but oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this guy.
yeah, so we will be keeping more of the story stuff close to the chest. What we can say for you guys is that we'll be expanding upon the story in the Ecto-Edition and in the new DLC. So we have the official reveal. Ryan here is our beautiful voice for Samhain. I'm just gonna go with the Samhain. I know there's a million pronunciations. Chat can correct me on that.
Samhain, yeah.
Yeah, Samhain, Soin. There's a million.
We just say Sam, right?
Yeah, we do Sam. Yeah, sure. But yeah, we're still sitting on the story. We are expanding the story, and he will be a part of the story. So we're super excited to deliver you guys some more news soon. But for today, I think our focus is mostly on Ryan and his awesome work and work with the whole Ghostbusters franchise. One of the things that I think was really cool to learn is that you're a big Ghostbusters fan yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, literally, I can't remember a time when I didn't know what Ghostbusters was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and what I recently learned talking to you just a little bit before the stream was that you're originally from Manhattan too.
Dude, yeah, so I mean, for me, that's the thing about Ghostbusters. There were a few franchises when I was a kid that I felt like represented not just me as a nerd spiritually, but also New York, being a New Yorker.
Yeah.
And the firehouse and the idea of them rolling around the streets of New York was such a cool idea to me that, in a weird way, I mean, I was that kid who always liked to believe that the movies were also kind of secretly real. And
I feel that, yeah.
in my mind, they were always riding around New York somewhere. If something went down, I knew the Ghostbusters were around. And I was obsessed with the cartoon. I think, I can't remember what I saw first. I imagine I saw the movies first. And I became obsessed, like most people, with just the proton packs, the aesthetic of the actual, just how clunky and garage kind of rock and roll style it was all put together, and it just felt like something that if I found a bunch of stuff in my house, I could stick it all together and be like, look, I made a proton pack.
Right. Have you ever gotten the chance to wear one of those crazy cosplay proton packs, or is it been the home
so
creations?
I have seen a bunch of them at conventions over the last few months, and I have yet to actually strike up the courage to be like, hey, could I wear one? Because I really they look so cool. Look, honestly, I'm at the point where I almost want to get one commissioned just to have it and put it on the wall, because they are such beautiful pieces of film history.
Yeah,
I mean,
film
I had
history and mechanics.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, I did have the toy, the blue plastic, with the trap and everything. I totally had those and was obsessed with them. It was I'm pretty sure I would go to school wearing them. It was a whole committed thing.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely started off on the first movie myself, and okay, well, just with packs and like kind of cosplay stuff, and just like making movie stuff come real, like come to life. I feel like the Ghostbusters community, especially, is super friendly and super open with that kind of stuff. Like that, people share builds, people share like all sorts of stuff. And I remember going to our first kind of like, or at least my first kind of like event involving
Uh-huh.
the Ghostbusters community. There was plenty of these people in full get up, full cosplay that were more than willing. Like, yo, you want to put on the pack? Like, yo, check out the
Oh, that's so
PKE meter.
cool.
Like, this thing actually lights up. Like,
You know
the
what's
community
funny?
is awesome.
Equally, I don't know, this is probably not just me, but equally as cool as the actual packs and everything were, this is going to sound maybe strange. I loved the elbow and knee pads, like
Oh yeah.
the the like just the way that they had that specific kind of like poofy design. There was something just about everything that felt very intentionally clunky. It almost felt like something kind of steampunky. It's so
Mm-hmm.
bizarre, and I love it. All right, so here's a question for you, because I feel like it's like the turtles, like your personality is defined by
Yes. You're
who
stealing
who
my
was
question. I was
your.
gonna ask you.
Oh, well, I mean, I will answer as well, but like,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like it's an important thing. It's like who, when you were a kid, especially, and has it changed? Is like who was your Ghostbuster that you identified with?
So I think, funnily enough, I think originally my favorite was Winston, and it was always between Winston and Egon. And I think after Winston, because he was very much like he just joined up on the job, like, and then especially with this game's lore, which I know it's kind of like alternate universe, but it makes me respect his
Of
character a lot
course.
more. Of like, yeah, he turned the Ghostbusters into like this business, and like he's this entrepreneur and has all this crazy stuff figured out, and he's
Yep.
just running it from his own experience. Whereas Egon is just like the beautiful mind, the scientist, the quirkiness, and
Yeah.
getting to see like the extended lore of him and his family and like what he was doing after all the years in Afterlife. Like that was, I was a
I
really
still
big
need
fan.
to see Afterlife, by the
You
way.
haven't seen
I am
Afterlife yet? The
so,
chat's gonna have a
dude,
hate.
I'm so behind. No, I'm so behind on like movies in general that
I feel that
that's
though.
like, I haven't even seen the new Spider-Verse. I'm so behind on stuff right now. It's upsetting.
That
So,
movie is
yeah, the
really good
chat
too.
can, the chat, the chat is gonna lose their minds with me, but like, please understand, I've been traveling. It's been hard.
Well, considering who you're playing, you should definitely watch Afterlife and then probably catch up. Just make sure you're caught up for whenever the newer movie comes out.
Oh no, for sure. I am like, it's one of those things that I'm actually mad at myself that I haven't gotten to see it yet, because everything about it is screaming that I'm going to love it. So it's 100%. You know what? I might just do it tonight.
Yeah, if you've got the time, for sure.
There we go.
All right. Well, we are kind of hopping into game here. Let's
Let's
see.
do it.
We can just change
I've been
and
running
kind of
around like a
chat as
Looney
we
Tune.
play. We'll start off with some private matches and then we'll open it up to the public. And before we actually start up, let's go ahead and run for the fans, for the chat, for all the lovely people joining us on this random Wednesday afternoon. How about we run a quick game key giveaway? So, the winner of this
Oh,
giveaway, you
heck
guys
yeah.
just DM us at the IllFonic channel, or on Whisper Us via Twitch, and with your preferred region and platform. So, for example, that'd be like if you're in America, NA, and if you're a PlayStation player, PS5. Okay, let's see. And I see you're already exploring Rays over here.
Well,
You
I
like
mean,
our
like this is
Halloween setup? The
if
new.
we're yeah, I love it. I mean, this is just my aesthetic in life. Like, if I could live in a place, it would just be this. It would just be raised part of the building.
Yeah, it is. I love like all the little
I love
knickknacks
weird
and
occulty stuff. Yeah, there's actually a place here in Los Angeles that is kind of like this, just all year round. That you can go in and they just have all these weird little, like uh, like creatures in jars and Halloweeny type things and all kinds of weird stuff.
yeah, it's a great time. And especially like I just love looking at all the little detail that they took from the movies, as well as like kind of the details that our team put in themselves, and just seeing
It's
everything
so
from the
fun.
the bright pink glowing slime on the shelf to all the little
I love the skeletons sticking out of the box and like all the little
yeah.
like the pieces just everywhere. It feels, what I love about it, the whole firehouse, is that it feels so lived in.
Yes, exactly. Also, I think I'm just realizing that we didn't get to see, hear your answer. What was your answer for your
Oh,
favorite? Who do you
well,
identify with as your Ghostbuster?
yeah, it also, I feel like kind of changed, because at first it was um, what's his name? Bill Murray's character. My brain is now spacing on his actual name.
Venkman, Peter
Venkman,
Venkman.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was a Venkman guy because I just felt like he had that like sardonic, kind of wit, and it was very like uh, he kind of winked at the camera, and it for me made it easier to not be as like spooked out.
Yeah,
And
very calming for the viewer, especially as a kid.
yeah, and I think because I was always, to be honest, I was always super terrified of like scary stuff, and so there was something about his energy that made it easier, especially like with the first one with the library scene. It is like legitimately terrifying for a kid.
Oh, absolutely. That is like a horrifying. That's like why I feel like Ghostbusters is like the weird in between of like it's not really horror, but there's some scenes in it for sure that are like, okay, that was. There's some scary scenes, especially the library scene.
100%. And then I think to like finish the answer, I think Egon became my guy because there's something about, like you said, is that mad scientist. Like he loves, it's just the love of exploration, and even if it's kind of chaotic, and I love when they have, what is it in the second one? They're like screaming at the ooze to like see what happens to it.
Yeah, it's such a good, it's just like insulting the ooze and
Yeah.
such a great scene. I had a question for you, kind of just in regards to your. We won't be talking too much about like the story of the role, but what kind of preparation? I know you said you grew up with the cartoon as well, so have you
Yeah.
seen the original like episodes where Samhain's in it? Like, what did you do in preparation
100%.
to like step in the shoes of the ancient like Celtic legend here?
Well, at first, I actually, when I first got the part, I went back and rewatched like whatever clips because I couldn't find the full episodes, but like I grew up on that. Literally one of my quotes as a kid for a long, long time was a line that Ray dropped in the cartoon that was like, "Let's blow this popsicle stand,"
Oh
and
yeah. Wait, that's
it
originally
was
from the Ghostbusters? I've heard that all my
no,
life.
but
Okay.
that was where I first heard it. It
Yeah.
was an episode they were doing like a crazy like drag race episode against like a bunch of ghosts and stuff, and I just remember that being the line. I was like, okay, that's cool. But the Samhain stuff, like he was, I mean, like when you're a kid, especially like dope pumpkin head, creepy cape, that energy is the coolest.
Yep.
So he was always the coolest. And when I went back and rewatched it after I got the part, I wasn't sure if the idea was like be close to the original recording and character and try and play it like that, or if we were going to go really different. So I actually studied the original performance a little bit and kind of was like, just preparing for maybe catering to that more.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
because I wanted to be respectful, obviously, of it, and if that was going to be expected, I didn't want to just like day of be like, oh yeah, no, let's just like put that on. Because I one love this franchise, and anytime I'm a part of anything, I want it to be the best that I can give to the project and have the most fun doing. So I like to prepare if I can.
Right, of
But then we
course.
kind of like then we kind of reestablished it, which is really fun. I don't know how much we could talk about the voice itself, but
Yeah, well, we should probably stay away from that, but I would love to hear about the techniques.
yeah. Well, the techniques. Eh, what we will say is it's. I mean, for me, it was definitely, and so far continues to be the most outrageous performance I think I've had the pleasure of doing so far. Because it's so drastically like I never get to play monsters or creatures or anything like that, and getting to actually be a big bad ghost who is super just like evil, like like usually
Yeah,
like
evil,
even if you get to
edgy,
play a
all of
bad
the
guy,
above.
yeah, and a lot of the time you have to play like, well why is he's not bad to me, I have to find his motivation, but I'm like, no, he's just he's just pure evil. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, that guy
And
is for sure.
the biggest note that we kept doing in the session that I kept getting was just get him more wet. So it was a lot of really just being creepy and disgusting, and
Could
I've
you
never.
extrapolate on what get more wet means?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, in this case, I feel like I'm, we'll call this dry. uh, it's
Yeah.
imagine like filling your mouth up with as much saliva
Mm-hmm.
and liquid as possible without like it sounding like you're gargling something, and then putting on, the voice and doing all the affect and stuff, but speaking through spittle and letting it, for back lack of better term, letting it all fly. So like really just kind of being as free for, and I was in a studio, so I wasn't doing this at home, which means that poor
You were
pop
using,
filter.
yeah, someone else's equipment. And
Yeah, and I kept looking through the glass in between takes, being like, "Are you sure? Like, is this okay?"
are you guys certain
Half
about
waiting for them
this?
to be like, "You know what? He's fired. This is not, yeah, like this is inappropriate." Because it was like, this is just, they're gonna burn this, right? Like after the session, they're just gonna take this out back and set it on fire, surely. Because you can't, like, it was. I would do a take and then I would look and it would just like there'd be something dripping off the pop
Of
filter,
the-
or we'd stop a take and I would have to like wipe my face, and it was so much
Keep a
fun. It
towel
was,
nearby, like it's almost like a
oh
workout.
yeah, it was the best. I like, and to a lot of the time it's funny. People will ask me. I think they ask a lot of people who are professional voice actors, like, how do you get into this, and what's something that I need to do, classes, this, that, whatever, and
Yeah.
something that I think is really important that isn't talked about enough is you have to be okay with being super vulnerable and put yourself in physically uncomfortable or unflattering kind of situations in order to achieve the thing, and
I suppose the
I
beauty
don't
of
think.
voice acting is that at least your face isn't on camera dripping with all
Though
the.
I'm pretty sure, I think we got some video footage of me being absolutely disgusting, so I'm hoping we'll get to share that at some point.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds like it'd be like a great
Yeah,
behind the scenes clip for
pretty
us to
sure there
share in
was
the
a
future.
camera like right here while I was like, it was 100% just complete insanity. But that is like, that's why you do it, and there's something really freeing for me about that. Like I want to be in chaos mode when I'm acting.
Yeah, no, actually, I love that because you brought up something that I was wondering about myself. I've personally done some delving into voiceover and not too much voice acting, but
Ooh.
I've done some some auditions and stuff myself. Just nothing too crazy. I have no experience like you do. Just stuff for fun because I always
But you
thought
know
it.
what? The auditions, I feel like it's something important to keep in mind. Is like, the audition is that's your chance to be like, here's my interpretation. Here's me if I were in the session. Like that's your
Yeah.
playtime. So don't belittle it.
Oh yeah. Well, for sure. I guess the question I wanted to ask you is, there goes my trap immediately. This bot is messing me up. What kind of advice would you give to someone like looking to get into the kind of acting or voice acting field?
Well, I mean, the big one, obviously, that I think a lot of people will hear, but also not necessarily still want to process is like, you totally should look into voice classes or just regular theater and improv classes. I think acting, regardless of having, natural humor or certain, like, some people are just innately charismatic or funny or whatever that is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be equipped for all situations as an actor. And a lot of the times now more than ever, people want, trained performers, so that when you're brought into the job, if there's something to improvise with or a choice to make that might be out of the box or whatever it is, or even in case of just doing an audition, you might be able to approach something differently based on
Your like
how
lived
you look at the
experience.
text, or how, yeah, lived experience. I mean, that's a big one that I tell people is like, a lot of the time people who want to get into this are like a teenager, which understandably it's an awesome profession. And when I was a kid, being an actor or a musician, or like, that was all the ideal. But there's something about, oh, return to main menu. Do I do that? Yeah. Confirm.
You can.
I'm all over the place.
I was gonna say you could just sit and let the screen do itself. I'll just go ahead and reinvite you here.
I'm terrible at this stuff.
No worries, no worries.
Multitasking my brain. Um, all right, so now where do I go?
No, I'll just go ahead and send you another invite, and you can join up like you did last time.
Whoops.
No worries. Since we're in a private match, it's you don't have to touch anything. So,
Love it.
but yeah. That's all good. We'll just get you back
Yeah.
in here.
But life experience is a huge thing, and like if you're a teenager and you want to play all these different kinds of characters that are supposed to have gone through or go through really deep, powerful things. I mean, I remember being in my teens and doing plays and studying text or watching films and thinking how I was interpreting things or how I would play things and realizing that it was a performative idea of an experience versus actually growing and having a lived experience and then being able to give that to the characters.
Yeah, like
You
reach
know,
down into yourself and pull that into your performance.
and it's a huge, huge difference. And I think not to say that people at different ages can't have experiences to pull from,
Right.
but I think that it's important to not worry about feeling like you have to rush to have a career as a kid. That's
Hmm.
more the thing that I think is the focus of, like, if you're so focused on making something like this a job instead of a life pursuit, you are going to be sorely disappointed, and you're also going to miss out on a lot of just like joy and creativity without it. I think
Yeah.
a lot of it is preparing otherwise. But then when it comes to the practical stuff, yes, theater classes, voice acting classes are great. And getting good at, if you particularly in voiceover, getting good at breaking down scripts and like having that kind of quick ability to read something and process what it's asking of you, because
Hmm.
a lot of the time, especially with, like, let's say dubbing, you go in there and they're like, here's the scene, now do your take and let's move on. You'll get maybe two or three tries if you really want to like play with something, but your your quick reading skills and being able to digest emotionally and tonally where you need to sit, or um, what to put intention on what word, like all of that stuff comes from studying and preparing, because preparation will meet opportunity whenever that shows up.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things that I saw um, that's really cool about online, or just about the area that we have now for like just technology in general, is there's a million different discords and a million different websites for like casting calls, and you can just gain so much experience by auditioning for like million, like honestly a million different things that
That's
are
how I
available right
started.
now. Yeah.
It's
I was
Yeah, I
well.
mean,
That's perfect. Yeah. How did you kind of get your start? Because I know from beforehand, at least from what Jared said, you went from kind of being in a band to going into acting, right?
yeah, I was a I mean I was a total, theater kid and a movie nerd and all that stuff as a youngster. But I kind of, I avoided it professionally because I started a band when I was a kid, like teenager, and suddenly it was a thing of like, be responsible and put all of your energy into that. If you're going to be crazy and try a career, try it 100%.
Right.
So I didn't come back to acting until I was 31. It was literally only the summer. It was the summer of 2019. My band had freshly broken up. Um, I was working a job that like laid off my whole department,
Hmm.
and I was living in Los Angeles at this point, and I was like, I think the universe is saying, hey, if you want to go back to acting or at least even remotely pursue it, here's your one window to throw everything you have at it, or just don't ever try again. And I felt like, okay, I'm just going to invest my money that I don't have into acting classes again, and kind of just respect the craft.
Yeah.
And part of that was I started going on their websites, especially if you're in Los Angeles, called like Actors Access or, LA Casting, all these different things where you can audition for independent projects and all different kinds of stuff, and cut your teeth, learning how to essentially audition and work on projects and grow as a performer.
Hmm.
And that kind of led to me, one, it was like I think 6 months of sending stuff out where I didn't even get responses, and I
That's
was
what I've
like, am
heard.
I even?
It's a lot of just like do your work, send it out, like don't look back, and then like
Yeah,
be happy if you hear something. Otherwise, you got some experience.
you can't be precious about the way that I try and explain it to people is it's a lifestyle, and if you're lucky, it's a career. If you're lucky, there's a job, and if you're
Yeah.
really lucky, it's a career. But for the most part, I think being an actor, a lot of people say like auditioning is the job. I think that's partially true. I just think it's auditioning is the thing you have to just do. It's a machine. It's like going to the gym. You know, to
Mm.
me, it's like training, and it's like, regardless of you thinking about, hey, am I going to get this role? I think a lot of the things that people do when they audition is they, especially when you're first starting out and you don't have credits to your name or whatever it is, and you're just excited. You get auditions for stuff, and you're like, I need this. I need this to happen because if
This
this
would be my
happens,
dream role. Yeah.
whatever it is, or even just the fact of like, this then means I'm validated and I'm professional and whatever. And you put so much emotional stock into the desire for whatever it may be that instead of focusing on giving something authentic to that character and that rare moment that you have to play them, all that the casting director or someone's going to hear is you going, please, I need this job. Please give me this job. I don't know what else to do. I need this job. Like, they're going to hear that in your read versus if you don't think about it or you push that as much out of your mind as possible and you focus on what is this character and what is my interpretation. It still may
Hmm.
not be right. It still may not book you the thing, but they will hear a far more confident actor.
Right.
And, you know, even there have been so many times that I've read for something that I haven't booked that I've then worked with that casting director or that director or whatever because of that audition where they're like, oh, he doesn't fit
Oh.
this character. But I mean, that's how I got the My Hero character. I read for a total separate other group of characters that were like villains for the fifth season of the show.
And it's kind of like a,
And
hey, we'll keep you in mind, and they actually did. It's like, hey, I
it,
think you
it
do
was
be.
even crazier than that.
Yeah.
It was a general, it was a very like focused hey, if you're seeing this batch of auditions for these characters, you're kind of in a small pool of people we're like, you know, checking out because I had never worked with you know, that director before.
Hmm.
And I was a big fan of the show, so I'm thinking, cool, this is my chance to just be heard by them. I immediately was like, realistically, there's no chance I'm booking these characters, but I could show them what I could do. And then maybe down the road, they could consider me for something. And I read for these three different characters, and I sent them off, and then 5 months went by.
Oh
So I'm
wow.
like, for sure, I didn't book any of those
Nothing
guys, you
happened.
know?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm already way more focused on whatever's, you know, coming my way anyway.
Hmm.
And 5 months, like literally to the day, I get an email offering me Rhodey. And it was based on what I had sent in previously, and that director going, oh no, this fits this guy. And it's just that's sometimes that's how it happens. So I think a lot of people are so focused on the immediacy of needing that one audition to be that one thing, and they don't realize how much just sending in a good audition will work in your favor in the future with so many different things.
Yeah, you really got to play for that long term. And
Yeah.
I
Oh,
guess
totally.
so we do actually have another special guest coming in here pretty soon. So we'll switch to a break real quick. But before we do that, I just wanted to
Kevin
ask.
Bacon.
No, don't God. But before we do that, I just wanted to ask you really quick, what part of your job do you find most satisfying,
Oh
like most
man.
fulfilling?
It's like every part of it. It is so crazy. I mean, you know, forget about the fact that like when we say that I was a musician, it makes it sound like I was just playing in bands and that's what I did. Like I was working multiple jobs to survive at the same time, from like coffee shops, restaurants, like anything you could. I was a PA at places where I was like doing Home Depot runs and like lugging furniture around and building stuff. Like I was never in like a glamorous work situation. I was always struggling, and I never got to do anything inherently creative for work. Like
Right.
even being in the band, it was like we were trying to make it happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So from the very first moment, people started hiring me to act, and it, you know, I've had the pleasure of doing on camera stuff, and it's like there's a huge difference there. When you do an on camera project, you go and it could be a 15-hour shoot day, and maybe you get to play for like 20 minutes because there's setup and this and that and whatever, and it's like there's a million moving pieces. But in voiceover, it's like all the things I loved about recording, being in a band, and everything I love about acting, which is you turn into a 5-year-old again and you get to play, and you mix that with the intellectual nerdy part of acting,
Yeah,
and you
you get to
just
be yourself again almost while being someone
yeah.
else, which is crazy because that feels like the opposite of what acting is.
Yeah, no, it's so and like and honestly, voiceover particularly, the thing that is so freeing is like the thing that separates it mostly from on camera is if I in one day, I can play a hero, I can play a banana, I can play a dragon, I can
A
play,
banana.
it's like listen, it's out there, like and that's kind of the most amazing thing is there's if someone's like, "Okay, what does a banana sound like?" I have to figure that out, and that's
Yeah.
the best.
There's a well, all right. So apparently, just to let's do a quick segue here. I mean, the like, what does a banana sound like versus like, what does a banana say? And thanks to our stream master director Aaron, it looks like we won't have to go to a break screen because right here we have our second special guest joining us here, Mr. James Willems. How's it going, James?
Well, well, well.
Oh, hey,
Look
bud.
who's
Praise the
here.
crew.
Look who's here.
So James is our writer. James, you wrote for both Arcade-Geddon and Ghostbusters, correct?
Yes, I did.
And so one of my immediate questions for you is like, well, actually, first off, before we get into any super deep questions, but have you and Ryan worked together before?
Before
Before the
Arcade-Geddon?
well, oh yeah, I guess you guys did work together on that. Yeah,
That
so
was
before
no, that was
Arcade-Geddon.
how we met.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, so that is kind of. I mean, I came in for some of it. I missed like the first couple of minutes, but I heard some of your conversation, and that is a funny thing about how, not how all of this came to be, but yeah, because Elise and we worked on Arcade-Geddon, and if you played the early version of that game, it was kind of like a gibberish
Yeah,
language.
that's
So we
exactly
wrote, like,
that's one of the questions I wanted to ask. Like, if Ryan
Oh yeah,
remembers
no,
delivering
yeah.
gibberish
Oh
lines.
no, this is like literally, this is like perfect confluence of events to get it this way. Yeah.
Sorry, James,
but
yeah, continue.
no, yeah, but so we wrote actual words, and then it got turned into a gibberish kind of like almost Simlish.
It's very
Arcades, I
Simlish.
believe was the term, right? And but we also put like certain characters had certain voices and like cultural influences and stuff like that. So we were like, oh, we'll see how this turns out. And then there's a certain character that you meet early on called Skedaddle, and we got some of the early files back. We didn't get to participate in any of the recordings or any of that stuff like we did with Ghostbusters, but we got some of the files back, and I just wanted to listen to them. So I just started listening to see if any of this seemed like it was working. And the one that I opened was Skedaddle, which influenced by like London punk scene, kind of like, one of those guys, a toady type. And somehow this extremely talented person had managed to
Aw.
take gorbledy gorps and loops and stuff like that and make it sound like British and
Still
tough.
British, even in the even in gibberish arcades. Um,
Yeah.
Really quick, actually, let's go ahead and while we continue chatting about this, I'm gonna go ahead and invite you guys. Ryan, you'll join up the way you did earlier.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
James will send you an invite, and then we can hop in and do a little
Alright,
bit
cool.
of gaming while we play, so the chat has
Sounds good.
a little extra stuff to look at. But one of the questions I kind of wanted to transition to, we kind of got Ryan's take on it a little bit, just talking about kind of the real Ghostbusters and getting to see Samhain in action. But what's it like, and how's it like to like research and write and work for kind of an older IP, obviously Afterlife and the new movie are new, but like an older IP, to bring it and modernize that writing while still keeping the feel and staying true to the original IP.
A ton to unpack there. It's mostly scary,
Mostly scary. I could see that. There's a lot of pressure.
mostly terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a thing that, like Elise and I are very passionate about. Like, it's something that we love and, would endlessly reference to ourselves just casually. So finding the voice for some of these characters is really easy, especially when you think of like Ray and Winston. It's super easy to find that voice. For characters like this, it's strange, especially with Samhain, because
Because you guys aren't inherently pure evil.
well, there's that. There is that. But it's also because this character has such an influence in the completely different Ghostbusters realm from which he is pulled. Number one, which is the animated series, The Real Ghostbusters. So you can watch that and you can get it, but it's like, okay, well, it's not like we can just write that because that's tonally entirely different than what this is. But then there's also trying to figure out how to make it match what this is, and then there's the fact that like Samhain is inspired by actual other ghost lore that precedes Ghostbusters, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's a thing. And so just trying to balance all those things is really, really tough, but it's also really, really fun. And then you never know if what you're doing is right until someone steps in a voiceover booth and you hear it back and you're like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Yeah, I want to hear your first reaction on, or your reaction.
Well, they were there in
Yeah.
person. I was
Oh,
so
you were there in
happy.
person?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
so
we got to be
happy
there.
for that. That was like because like at that point we had become friends, and there was something very comforting about like, oh, okay, there's a protective blanket here in the studio, so I can, going back to what I said before about being vulnerable, like I knew immediately that I was in a safe space to be like, oh, if we gotta go full disgusting, like this is
I got backup.
What was it? The only like real note that we gave was wetter.
Yep.
He said
See?
wetter because in our mind, his head is a pumpkin, and he's spitting seeds. Like it should be things that like you think of a jack-o'-lantern and a
Yeah.
scary jack-o'-lantern that has like the stuff
The
and the
pulpy,
goop,
yeah.
and even maybe it's been out too. Maybe it's like you
It's
made
been
it 2
out
weeks
too
for
long, it's
Halloween
rotting
and
a
it's
little
like
bit.
kind of rotting a little bit. Like it doesn't make sense to be articulate. So we wanted wetter, and I heard you mention it earlier. Wetter is what we got all over the pop filter of the microphone.
I was wondering actually if you guys could see through the glass. Like, could you see it dripping off the pop filter?
No,
Like,
luckily we were far enough away to not have to see
dude,
that.
like there were literal moments where like it was like I could put my hand out and just like watch a viscous like thing drip. It was disgusting in the best
Yeah.
way.
Oh my god.
But
No,
I think that's
it's
what
so
the
much
character
fun.
needed for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've heard some of the clips, and it's crazy how much like when you get into like listening to certain VA reels, it's like your voice changes a lot, and then especially
yeah.
with the wetness, yeah, that pumpkin esque.
Well, and to be fair, there's also like really, really cool effects and stuff layered. It's like a really cool thing that's happening. But yeah, like getting to just perform in a way that was like truly disgusting and creature-esque is so not what I usually get to do, and it was so freeing. It's something that like you really get to just kind of fully turn your personality off and go somewhere else. You kind of have to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, how about we let's go ahead and show the chat some of our ghost busting skills. And while we're at it, we kind of asked each other this question, James. But which one of the original Ghostbusters, or I guess any Ghostbuster, do you kind of like identify with, or like who's your favorite Ghostbuster? I guess.
I was a Winston kid growing up.
Yeah?
I was always a Winston kid because Winston was like I wasn't a scientist. I was a kid that wanted to bust ghosts, and that's
he was
what.
the most relatable.
Yeah, that's what I always felt like was a Winston thing. Is he was like, hey, I'm here, and he's like, you do what here? Like, what goes on? Like, the other three, it's like their life pursuit in some sort of way. But for Winston, it's just kind of a job. And I always thought that was the most fun version of it.
It's so interesting that all of our reasoning is very, very personal too. Like, mine was purely fear-based. And because I was just such a scaredy cat that Venkman for me, by being so humorous about it all, was like, oh, okay. Oh, we can laugh at this. We can laugh at this. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and mine was very much like connecting with the inner nerd, but also kind of like that entrepreneurial side that I mean, you and Elise and and Jared like did a great job of like bringing out in future alternate universe. Winston is just like, yeah, let's bring this all the way to the future. It's a business now.
Yep.
Oh, cool, awesome. We got Ryan in the lobby now, and then let's go ahead and just fire up a quick play match while we keep chatting.
Sweet.
But yeah, in terms of Samhain fitting into this game, right? Like, because there's costume items that you can do that make it feel more like real Ghostbusters, and obviously this game has like a more surreal type style. It's not, it's not photorealistic in a lot of ways, and I think that's what makes it very fun. But then it was also like, okay, well, Samhain also, we can't even agree on how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, we were
like,
yep, we were doing a bunch of that earlier.
yeah, so it's like, which is, to be fair, anyone who's watching, it's addressed. We addressed that. I don't know.
Oh, that's
I don't know.
amazing.
Okay,
I
that's
don't know
good.
if,
Good to know. Good to know.
how much it cares, but we also, as fans of it, we didn't want to upset anybody, so it is addressed. You might have to do some digging to figure out how it's addressed, but we definitely understand the split there.
All right, Ryan, go ahead and hit. I think is it square on your controller to ready up?
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Very nice.
I'm terrible at multitasking with this stuff.
No.
Yeah.
My brain's like, we're hanging out.
And I guess since we have you here, James, I mean, you are pretty much Mr. Behind the Scenes himself. How is it working with like Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson?
I mean, it was wild. They were awesome. They were super game and super excited. My experience working with them was that Ernie, they both love this. Ernie, I think he is just always so grateful to be a part of this world. You say certain people get so closely
He's such a
associated
phenomenal
with a
actor.
thing.
I've seen some videos of him like at cons, and he looks so passionate about what he does.
He seems like a really gracious guy.
He is, but that's the thing though. It's like he's definitely an actor, and I don't think he feels like this series defines him as an actor at all, despite how great he is. Because when we would record with him, you'd kind of get like a couple different versions of every single line read, and one would be, it's Ernie, right, and then another one where it's like half Ernie, half Winston, and then by the third one, it's completely Winston, and he's finding things in the lines that are like you couldn't have imagined. Whereas with Dan, he's Ray. I think he just lives.
He just
lives.
Right. It's just become one. Yeah.
There was like maybe one or two times where we were like, "Hey, just a heads up, that sounded a little Canadian." It was just a little, the way you were pulling it, it sounded a little Canadian there. And just to confirm that Ray is a American-born New Yorker, so he was like, gotcha. But then like, both of their passion for this franchise is pretty unmatched. It's pretty fantastic, and it was tough for me to be professional while I wasn't just freaking out.
It's so cool. I mean, even for me to just like technically be in a project with them as the kid who's been in love with this stuff forever, like it is absolutely surreal.
I mean, quick follow up on that. Did you and Elise, like, were you the one who wrote all of like, I mean, because I feel like my favorite thing about Dan's character, right, it's the rambling, like the super long winded, like super technical terms, like where he's going on a tirade about like all the different like classes Ghost at. Like, were you the one who wrote that, or does he kind of like freeball those?
Oh, I mean, all the words we wrote, there were some flourishes here or there that he definitely added that were great. I would say if anyone has a beat though on Ray's voice, it was Elise. We everything we kind of wrote together, but she has a sense of whimsy, wonderment, like an appreciation for the physical world around her, that like it was perfect. Her writing Ray was perfect. There were actually some moments when we were working on Arcade together, and I found the.
It looks like Ryan actually didn't get in, so
I somehow got kicked out of the network thingy. Me and technology are just not getting along today.
No worries. We'll just start up. Let's start up a new lobby. But
okay,
James, go ahead and continue your thoughts while we.
No,
start
but
this
yeah.
lobby.
So like, there were actually some points in Arcade where we were writing some things, and the general consensus was that the stuff that Elise was writing was maybe a little too joyous, a little too positive, a little too fun. Again, whimsy is the term I always use. It had a little too much whimsy, and so it was great because then when we switched over to Rey, it was like, oh,
The
that's
whimsy,
exactly
it's there.
that's exactly
it's
what
already
is
there.
necessary. And then there's a great line in the opening where he talks about how the firehouse was a coffee
Oh.
coffee shop, but he
I know what you're talking
says
about.
Java joint essentially,
Mhm.
and we laughed about it because Elise wrote this line and she delivered it with such just like a kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but like a
I'm watching your arms do the
childlike
back and
wonderment
forth. Yeah.
energy or whatever. And we were like, is it too silly? Is this too silly? And she's like, it's not too silly. It's perfect. It's perfect. And then when we got in there and recorded with Dan, he annihilated the line, like in the best possible way. And I don't it just the way he is like, this was the perfect line for Rey, and so she encapsulated, I think, a lot of that energy.
That's
It's pretty
magical. I
great.
love that.
Yeah, that is super awesome. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and send you guys some invites right now.
All right.
One cent. We'll see if we can get another game in. I think. Let's see how How we're doing on time for you, by the way, Ryan. I feel like we could do.
I'm good. I could totally do one more match if I can figure out how to get in.
Yeah, if we can get one more match in, we'll get one more match in with you, and then. Well, while we're waiting, how about we run one more giveaway for the chat? Just because one giveaway for our very special guests.
Am I eligible for the giveaway? Should I get in chat and
Get on in
if
there.
you want to? But I feel like you could also just like
ask for it?
Yeah, you could ask for it,
just
but that
slide
takes the
into
fun of the
DM you?
gamble out.
Yeah,
right?
just slide into
guess
those
so.
DMs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I did it right this time.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And what's been your favorite kind of? I guess we can make this a two-prong thing, but what's been your favorite for Ryan? I guess. Well, we'll start with James. What's been your favorite character to kind of write for and explore and research? And kind of the same for Ryan. But Ryan, I know your experience is extremely broad, so we'll go with the Ghostbusters more related one.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think Tobin was a ton of
yes.
fun, because there isn't that much on Tobin, but there's enough to understand how important he is to Ghostbusters. But there's like so many, you can fill in so many blanks with so much fun stuff. Oh my god, we got a slime. But then, other than, it's not technically a character, but other than that, I would say every single location in this game has a backstory that Elise and I came up with and wrote over the course of it's like they unfold the more pieces and things that you find hidden across the map, and that's something that I think we put a lot of heart into, even if not everyone sees it, but it feels like it's a lot of character. So yeah, definitely Tobin and those pages. Because I just think that's such a fun way to insert world building into the game without forcing the player to sit there and watch a cutscene.
Right. And then for you, Ryan, what would one of your favorite characters to explore for yourself be?
Oh man, I mean, outside like just like any of the characters that got into play.
Yeah, I would say shoot, go for it. Any of them.
Well, I mean, I feel like I've had the privilege of playing some really strange ones lately, but I feel like getting to play Denji in Chainsaw Man has been like an oddly personal experience in ways that I wasn't ever really expecting, for a lot of weird personal things that have just mirrored it, but also it being a really fun challenge of kind of similarly to this, where it was the first time someone gave me the chance to kind of play outside of the normal spaces that people trusted me with and letting me really kind of stretch. And for me, it's I always love the thing that I can really dig into emotionally, but also will give me a challenge to kind of, I don't want to get lazy. I don't want to just give a performance that's like, oh, I know how to do this. Like, I kind of like being a little nervous.
Yeah, getting the challenge. I feel like that nervous feeling was what it is like you're learning.
Yeah, you're learning and growing, and you're like pushing against your boundaries and your limitations in a way that, like I said before with this too, is, a safe space. I mean, I was 100% prepared to fail when doing Samhain. Like, I was ready to go into that session and then be like, oh, yeah, you know what? It was worth a shot, and we're gonna go with somebody else. Thanks, buddy. Like I was fully expecting that to be a possibility.
It always seems like it's those, huh? It's the ones where you're the least sure that you end up nailing.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I hope we nailed it. I really, I loved getting to do it. I hope people are happy with it because it was so much fun, and like, we went all out for it.
Nice. Okay, hold up. I just realized that I was on the wrong scene, but it's okay. I was experiencing a little oddity, but we're all chilling now. Where are you guys? Let's get this
I'm
rift over here.
downstairs.
Oh, you're
I'm fighting
downstairs?
some-
I'm in the basement.
I'm by the rift.
Oh, you're by
Alright.
the library.
I'm going for the library.
Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh, that's.
So that's a
That's
drudge. I
inappropriate.
think that's new since you've played. They're kind of like a little
Yeah.
mini helper guys. They help increase the haunt and scare civs while you're gaming as the ghost. So
Getting slime.
ghost has a couple help. Oh boy. Oh, I'm
Ernie.
sabotaged.
I love something also. I know we were talking about the proton packs before.
Mm-hmm.
The actual beams are one of the most satisfying like
Oh,
things
yeah.
ever aesthetically, right? Just like the color combination, the way that it moves like weird spaghetti, just like everything about it always tickled
Like
my
weird
brain.
spaghetti. Very true. Oh my god. Can we get him?
Pull it into it.
I'm
Who's in
overheated.
control that?
Wait.
Oh, he broke
Oh,
his-
here we go.
wait,
Okay.
Oh,
yo!
nicely done. We got an over. Was that an overtime capture?
I think
oh
so.
my good golly.
Look at those sneakers.
Well, yeah. I have a pair like that in real life, so when I saw them in the game,
Do
I was
you?
like, oh,
That's
I gotta put
amazing.
that in.
You talking about the red kicks?
Yeah.
Do you have a proper onesie like the zip up?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. Actually, I
feel like-
don't.
Wait, do you
That's
not?
crazy.
Because
We
when I
gotta
met
get
you
you
in New York, I thought you had the whole flight suit. Did you not?
No, I got to wear because they brought those really cool packs, and I got to take some pictures with the pack on, but I didn't.
Oh,
have
you
the
got to
full
wear the
flight suit.
pack.
Yeah.
You know what I also love seeing at the cons is the car. Anytime someone has an Ecto one,
Dude, yes, the Ecto one is so like.
It's
Shout out to
so
the people
awesome.
who like maintain those and build
Incredible.
those
It's like
things.
Well,
it's a hearse, right?
I
Or like
it's an old ambulance, I believe.
it's an old ambulance.
Really?
Okay, that explains the
think-
color
I mean,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's
Um,
definitely like a peculiar design in which.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a ghost.
Speaking of fun fact about New York, because that's where we had the like release for the game, like the launch was really exciting and everything, and that's where we met and everything.
Yep.
But that's also the first time we, like Elise and I met Ryan in person. It was interesting. We
That
just
was a
happened
great
to be
moment.
at New York Comic Con, and he was there, and I said, I wonder if Ryan's around. We snuck over to the Chainsaw Man booth. And he was
So
there.
had you guys already worked with each other yet, or this was kind of like?
Yes, we had done Arcadegeddon at that point.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
were like, oh, Ryan's in town. Let's go see if we can sneak up on him, kind of thing.
Well, I knew because like Chainsaw Man obviously, and I knew he had been traveling, and we had been like Twitter friends and stuff, and so we had chatted, but we'd never met in person. And then I was like, I feel like they must have a thing here, and I saw
this
a
is an
booth, and I
opportunity.
was like, let's just wander. I said to Elise, let's just wander over there. And when we wandered over there, he was literally finishing like a meet and greet, taking pictures with fans, and so we just walked up and we were like,
It was
"Hey!" And he
great.
was like, "Oh my god!" And we went, "Oh my
No,
god!"
no,
And it-
actually, what you did, which was even funnier, is I was like taking a picture with somebody, and I was still flabbergasted that people even remotely were like caring at all. So I was just like so kind of blown away by everything, and my head was spinning. And someone was like, "Can we take a picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And they're like, "Can someone take it of us?" And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
And I like wasn't sure what to do, and then all of a sudden, this tall gentleman with a mask on, a face mask, goes, "Oh, I could take it for you." And I was like, "Oh, thanks so much." And I hand him the phone, and as he's about to take the picture, he goes and pulls down his mask, and I go, "James!" So it was like this, and then I realized like Elise was with him, and I just freaked out. It was a beautiful way to actually get to meet. It was so
Yeah.
surreal.
But then it was funny because then I don't know if it's karma. I think there's a little bit more hand in it than karma. But like then it worked out that we were there for Ghostbusters, and then
Yep.
it was like only, I want to say, a couple months later or whatever that we got to
Yeah.
work together on it, which is really cool.
So freaking fun. Yeah. I remember also coming down the escalator at one point and seeing you all out there. Oh no, that's
Yep.
a trap. Gonna get away from that.
Yes, it is. It is me and a trap.
No! I love how derpy this ghost looks. I'm just
Dude,
like,
Winky is one of my favorite ghost designs.
He's
Dude,
the
James is after you now too. Look at this.
no!
Teaming
You
up
guys are so
on.
mean.
We'll have
Just trying to
to.
haunt and stuff, bro. Just let me haunt, bro.
We'll have to do a redo of this. Come time for Ecto-Edition. Oh baby.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now we got the
100%
entire
Big
squad.
trap.
Crap.
Oh, right out
Oh,
of
it's
battery.
dead.
We need another one.
One more trap.
Oh,
Goodbye,
you.
Ryan. Get in the box.
There
It
we
was a good
go.
time. It was a good time. Ooh. Okay.
What were you saying about something about an escalator?
Oh, I was going down an escalator and I like ended up seeing everybody like hanging. It was like the whole Ghostbuster team.
Yeah.
I think that was there. Like, so it was a nice
like-
crash course also. And they were like,
Yeah.
"This is the guy who did Skedaddle."
Oh yeah, yeah. Then we were like, "This is the guy we were telling you about who did Skedaddle. It was awesome." They're like, "Oh, nice to meet you." Not thinking like, not even realizing that we'd be working together.
Yeah, I was just like, I was so psyched that you guys were there for it, and I just remember, congratulating you. That was just so fun, and yeah, small world. But that's,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think people also, going back to kind of when you asked me about getting into this as a career and stuff, people don't realize how much, in a weird way, you also just end up getting the stuff you're supposed to get just by putting yourself out there, and you end up connecting with people because of the way that your energy matches up, or your creative pursuits end up being kind of similar, and because nobody gets to be a part of everything,
Right,
but you
sure.
end up getting to be a part of the things that in a weird way you're supposed to, and you just kind of realize that happens.
The things that might resonate most with you, yeah.
I feel like also candidly, it's like you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're a dick, like I'm gonna want to work with you, and
That's for sure.
And every time we got to hang out, spend time, or chat with Ryan, he's a super nice student. We're like, okay, so you're telling me he's extremely talented, he can
And
knock this out of the
great.
park, and he's a nice guy who is respectful and kind. So like, okay, yeah.
Oh, you got me way quicker that time. Damn it.
That'll
Well,
do
thank
it.
you. That means a lot.
I can confirm, so obviously this is kind of my first time. Ryan and I digitally met for about 15 minutes yesterday, but I can confirm after all the
Yeah.
research I've done on you, people that aligns, that lines up with what James said.
Well, also like your commitment to the characters you portray and how much that means to the fans, right? Like, because there's a lot of people who will do things and be like, yeah, it's just another job. But it feels like in your case, and I don't want to speak for you, but it feels like
No,
in
no,
your
no, I
case,
mean-
it's very much like, listen, yeah, it may have been like an afternoon for me, but I understand how this is like really important for you, and so you want to make sure you honor that to the people that those characters mean something to.
100%. It's it's that, and it's kind of everything in a way, respecting also, I mean, all of you guys who've worked on this, who've done such hard work writing and creating and making these worlds so fully realized, and like, I don't want to be the person that shows up who's like, yeah, you're lucky to have me here, kind of weird, like, it's such a privilege to have this job and be able to do this at all, and it is so much fun to be able to get to explore these characters, and I know that it could be somebody else in these positions, and for me to have that opportunity, I'm not going to give 80%, I'm going to give 100%, and it's especially fun when I know I'm collaborating with people. Like, you guys are so awesome and kind and
stop
easy to
it.
work with and fun. No, but it's true, and it makes it way more fun to just open up and go to crazy places. I don't think you can, like, I feel like there used to be that old thing where people used to think, oh, if you are tortured, you make great art. And I actually think it's quite the opposite. I think it's when you're, really healthy and happy and surrounded by people who let you feel safe that you make great art.
Also, you know what I also like doing? Asking you really heady questions and then immediately throwing traps down on the ground and trying to capture.
Dude, that's like I noticed your tactic. I noticed your tactic. I felt it.
Yes. Speaking of which, are you guys okay on time? Do you want to do one final match, or are you guys?
I can probably do one
last
more.
round.
All right, let's
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
this the finale. How about we?
Oh, I
Yeah.
found some clippings too. So
Let's see.
And
Let's
thank
see.
you to everybody who's hanging out in the chat and stuff, watching me absolutely fumble through this. And thank you for everybody for the very, very warm welcome yesterday after the announcement. That was super, super cool.
I think one of the most beautiful things about the Ghostbusters community, it goes hand in hand with that warm welcome. Is like if you actually, I know we've been chatting a lot and I've been asking a lot of questions, but if you for whatever reason want to go back to the VOD and read the chat, I mean people are super. They're always on board for like new ghosts, new busters. Like everyone's on the same page of like, hey, if you want to learn the game, like they'll drop you tips in the chat. Like when I first started streaming the game, like I wasn't like aware of every single like kind of mechanic. A lot of the players who've been playing for forever taught me all the little tips and tricks and even opened me up to a lot of new ghosts and tech. And it's a great community.
yeah, I mean it's the
Yeah,
kind of
I mean, I
community
need
that
all
you
the
really
help I
wanna
can get with
please.
this stuff. That's it's so cool to get to be a part of something like this. I remember when the teaser dropped. Was it a couple of months ago now? I guess when the like the Switch announcement
Yeah,
trailer
I think
and
we
then
did
the
that on.
hand drop.
I think we did that on Ghostbusters Day, which is
Yes. Yeah.
poetic.
Yeah. And
Dang,
the
nice,
response to it.
Wait, that was a James and Ryan duo capture. That was gorgeous.
Got it.
I'm learning. The response to that trailer was so cool, and I'd kind of just been sneakily watching since then, like people's reaction to it, and I was, a little nervous, not nervous, but I was, knowing that it was going to be me eventually, and I'm wondering like, oh man, are they going to be happy? I hope that they aren't disappointed. They're like, who's this guy? So I'm really, really excited for when he actually drops.
Oh, looks like our ghost is AFK maybe. Am I? Oh no, I see you moving just fine. Okay, I think our ghost might have disconnected.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, he's back.
Ah.
Oh, okay, just kidding,
Huh?
yeah. He's back in bot form.
Got it.
That means it's a victimless crime.
It is a victimless crime. Let's go bully this bot. Yeah, I'm excited for you to get some more hours under your belt for this game, Ryan. And I want to
already
report back
feel way
on your
more
favorite
comfortable.
ghosts, your favorite equipment.
Oh yeah, no, I like now. I actually, what's nice too is I have a couple of weeks where I'm actually home and not traveling, so I can fully immerse myself into this. Because I also feel like I've barely like dressed up my Ghostbuster. It's really I gotta get into high gear here, especially by the time my boy drops. Like I gotta be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I think I messed it up on my end. I'm doing a little bit of traveling too, so I'm streaming from my laptop, and I realized, I needed to recustomize my Buster. Make them look all pretty. Oh, looks like we got our ghost back. Okay, cool.
It's funny because like I'll settle in on a look and I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect. Look, looks good.
And then
there'll be a new update. Yeah, it'll be a new. And I was like, oh god, dang it!
And then something
Mix
cool,
everything
yeah.
back together again. It's a good problem.
Well,
to
does
have.
it all revolve around the sneakers?
Oh, the sneakers are not going to change. Facial hair will change more than the sneakers will change. That's for sure.
Were you the one with the red tops on? The red high tops?
I was, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh god, I am so close to this ghost I actually can't see where I'm directing him.
Oh, we gotta pull him the other way.
Drop another trap.
Wait, there he is. Okay, wait, get.
Wait.
There it is. Oh, so close.
Where?
Okay.
Nice.
Did we get him?
Alright. Yep. Looks like it. 2 more captures.
Hey.
Yeah, we got 2
I
more
haven't found
captures.
any riffs.
Yeah, I've been trying to look out for them, but the facility can be a little tricky with rift placements. Okay, I found him he's in the surgical ward.
Okay.
Oh, nice. That's where I am. In the hallway.
Dropping the trap. Oh my god.
Man.
I can't press the trap. There's a wheelchair over it.
What? Oh wait.
couldn't
Oh,
stop with the
the
trap.
wrong way.
Come on.
I went the
Oh,
wrong
man.
Reel
way.
him back, reel him back. Okay. Nice.
Nice.
Alright, 1 more capture.
I didn't realize you have blue hair.
Oh, I think that's someone else, right?
Oh, that's someone else. Who's got blue hair?
SDI Mags.
Yeah, we've got some. We're playing quick play this time, so
Well,
we've got a couple of
SDI
peeps
Mags.
with
I
us.
dig the blue hair.
All right, we know what color Ryan's choosing for his hair.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I see, but now it's theirs. I can't claim that. I feel like then I gotta individualize.
All right, well, there's plenty of the. If there's one thing that this game has, a lot of it's customization options.
I'll tell you this: if you want red shoes, you take them. Okay.
I feel like Jordan's gonna fight you over those red shoes. I think the last time I
Oh,
played,
yeah?
the last couple times
What if
I
I
played with
do?
him-
What if I do blue shoes, red hair?
Oh, there you go.
Okay, like thing
Really,
one, thing two.
Really throw it on. Yeah, exactly.
You just gotta find
I
your
feel
thing
like-
two.
Yeah, I do. It wasn't that. That's just. I feel like that's a thing about life in general, right? You just gotta find your thing too.
That's that. No, that's poetic. Drag him in. Here we go.
Oh my God, so close.
You're
There
right.
we go.
Very nice. Nicely done, boys.
Easy. Easy.
All right.
That is teamwork.
All right, we'll go ahead and
Yeah.
back out of here and leave with the party. Take a final sip of that coffee there. Yes, sir.
Always.
Well,
There's always one more sip of coffee.
thank you two for making time for today. I really appreciate you guys being on, having you guys on. I mean, like, I'm just super excited for the community to see the reveal and to get their hands on Ecto-Edition, but also, connect with some of our talents, some of our staff, and build that kind of deeper connection with the behind the scenes of Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is so freaking cool. It's nice to hang with you, buddy. Dude, I missed you, James. We gotta hang out, man.
We got to do it. Well, you said you're around, so.
I'm home. So yeah,
Okay,
let's do
let's figure
dinner or
something out.
something. And thank you to you guys for having me. This is, like I said, this is a dream come true. I'm such a nerd for this. I'm so happy to be here. This
And we
was
love having
so much
fellow
fun.
nerds on.
And now I actually could play the game a little bit better. So
Yeah, absolutely.
heck yeah.
All right, well, thanks for joining, and everyone, thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you guys who did win the giveaway, make sure to DM us on Twitch for your key and include your username and platform for those things. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day, both you two and the
Hell
rest of
yeah.
the chat. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
See you.